I've buried my husband. I've buried my oldest son. I've buried every single friend I made before the age of 40. 3 of my siblings. Most of the people I sat next to in church for 40 years. I've been to more funerals than I can count on both hands, twice over. And I'm still here, still standing. 104 years old, still making my own breakfast, still walking every morning, still sharp enough to know exactly what I want to say to you right now. I'm Dot Richardson, born in Montana in 1921, and I need you to hear me. Not because I'm special, not because I have some secret that scientists haven't discovered, but because I've watched too many good people disappear too soon, and I've had 100 years to figure out why. And the answer is not what you think it is. You think living long is luck, or genes, or some secret pill your doctor won't tell you about. I thought that too, for a while. But I've had enough years to watch the pattern. And the pattern isn't kind, and it isn't complicated. It's just honest. And most people never want to hear honest. Here's the truth that hurts. The things that are killing you right now aren't the dramatic things. It's not one big disaster. It's the small, daily, invisible choices, repeated 10,000 times, that either build a life or quietly end it. And you won't feel it happening, not until it's already done. I started my real life on a farm during the Depression. We didn't have a choice but to eat simple, because that was all there was. Oatmeal, eggs, vegetables from the ground, a little meat when we could get it. My mother made soup from bones. She never threw a bone away. She'd simmer them all day until the broth was thick and gold and smelled like something that could keep you warm from the inside. We drank buttermilk and water. We ate garlic raw from the garden. We fermented our own cabbage in big glass jars. I thought I was missing out. I thought the city people with their fancy food and their ease had figured something out that we hadn't. I was wrong. I was so completely wrong. The Depression didn't just teach us to be poor. It accidentally taught us to live long. I'm 104 years old, and I take 2 pills. 2. One for blood pressure, low dose, and 1 vitamin D because Montana winters don't give you much sun. That's it. No heart medication, no diabetes medication, no chemotherapy, no dementia. I read the newspaper every morning without glasses too thick to see through. I remember what happened in 1943 as clear as I remember yesterday. And I want to tell you, that is not an accident. Let me tell you about my neighbor Harold. Harold was 52 years old and healthy as anyone I knew. Strong man, hard-working, raised his kids well, good to his wife. But Harold ate what was easy. He stopped moving when the car made it so he didn't have to walk anymore. He sat down after dinner and stayed down. He watched television for 4 or 5 hours a night. He worried about everything. About money, about the news, about what people thought of him. And he trusted almost nothing to take care of itself. He was a good man. I liked Harold. Harold was dead by 63. 11 years after he looked me in the eye over his fence and said he felt fine. At his funeral, people said it was sudden. But I had watched it coming for a decade. Nothing about Harold's end was sudden. It was the result of 1,000 small decisions made quietly every single day, for years. I knew Harold's habits were wrong. I knew it the way you know a storm is coming by the smell in the air. And he knew too. I think he knew. And yet he kept on. I'll change after the holidays. I'll start walking when the weather's better. It doesn't bother me yet. I've heard those words from so many mouths that have since gone silent. That's the cruelest thing about slow damage. It gives you time to make excuses. The first habit that kept me alive is this. I never stopped moving my body. Never. Not as a luxury, not as a hobby, as a law I made with myself. I walked everywhere until I was 95 years old. I never owned a car. People thought I was poor or strange. I was neither. I was protecting something most people trade away without thinking. I gardened until I was 98. I did my own housework. No shortcuts, no letting someone else do the lifting. When you stop moving, your body gets the message that it's not needed anymore. And your body will believe you. It will start to shut down piece by piece. It's not dramatic. It's just quiet and slow and final. I still walk 15 minutes every single morning with my cane. My daughter worries. My doctor looks at me like I'm an impossibility. I look at him like he should know better by now. The second habit. I ate the same simple breakfast for over 80 years. Oatmeal with walnuts and honey. 1 soft-boiled egg. Black coffee. No sugar. That's it. Not because I didn't want other things. There were mornings I wanted something richer. Something sweeter. But I understood something my generation understood, and yours has forgotten. Your body doesn't need to be excited. Your body needs to be fed. There's a difference. One fills you. The other flatters you for a moment and then charges you later. I never had a McDonald's in my life. Not once. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because I think most people don't realize they have a choice. Every single day, 3 times a day, you are making a decision. And those decisions are compounding, the same way money compounds in a bank, only in reverse. Every bad decision draws down your account a little. You don't feel the withdrawal, not for years. And then one day, the account is empty, and there's no way to put it back. Third habit. I gave my worries to God. Now, I know some of you will stop listening when I say that. That's your right. But hear what I mean before you dismiss me. I'm not saying faith is magic. I'm saying that carrying every fear in your own chest, every anxiety, every resentment, every regret, is physically heavy. It produces something in the body that breaks things down. I've watched bitter people age faster than sad people. I've watched the ones who couldn't forgive die 10, 15 years before the ones who could. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to get sick. I learned to put things down, not because I didn't feel them. I felt everything. But because I chose, every morning, to not let yesterday's weight ruin today's. My husband John died 36 years ago. Heart attack, age 70. He was the best man I ever knew, and he was gone in an afternoon. One Tuesday in October, and then he was just gone. I was devastated in a way I still don't have the right words for. And I had a choice. I could have folded. At 68 years old, I could have decided that life had already given me the best of what it had, and the rest was just waiting. Some women I knew did that. They died inside when their husbands died, and then their bodies followed a few years later, like the body was just waiting for permission to stop. I chose differently. Not because it was easy. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and I want you to understand that. I cried every day for 2 years, but I kept making my oatmeal. I kept walking. I kept going to church. I kept saying thank you, even when I couldn't feel it. Because John would have hated to see me give up. Because my children still needed me present. Because morning still came every single day, regardless of how I felt about it. Fourth habit. I never sat still for more than 2 hours in a row. My whole life. Not in front of a radio, not later in front of a television. I got up. I moved. I did something with my hands. Gardening, cooking, mending, cleaning. I grew my own vegetables until I was 98 years old. People think that's remarkable. I think sitting in a chair for 6 hours straight is the remarkable thing. It's remarkable that bodies survive it as long as they do. Fifth habit. I stayed connected. Church every Sunday for 95 years. Neighbors I knew by name. Family I made time for even when it wasn't convenient. Loneliness kills people. It kills them the same way disease kills them. Slowly, systematically, from the inside. I've seen it happen to people who had every physical advantage. Strong, healthy, well-fed. And then they lost their community, their purpose, their reason to get dressed in the morning. And they were gone within a year or two. The body follows the spirit. Remember that. And sixth, I stayed grateful. Every morning before my feet hit the floor, I say, thank you. For the morning, for my mind, for the ability to make my own oatmeal, for the great-great-grandchildren I got to meet. 3 of them. 3 children I never expected to exist. Gratitude is not a feeling that comes naturally at first. It's a practice. It's a habit. It's a muscle you build the same way you build any other muscle. By using it when you don't feel like it. The mornings I was most grateful were sometimes the mornings I had the least reason to be. Those were the mornings it mattered most. Here is what I want you to do. Not tomorrow. Today. Walk somewhere you would normally drive. Just once. See what it feels like to use your body for what it was built for. If you can't walk far, walk to the end of the block and back. That counts. It's not about distance. It's about keeping the habit alive. Make one meal from scratch. Something simple, something real. Soup from whatever you have. Oatmeal in the morning instead of whatever you're eating now. You don't need a recipe. You just need to stop outsourcing the most basic act of taking care of yourself. Put your phone down for an hour and sit with someone you love and actually talk. Look at them. Ask them something you don't already know the answer to. Listen more than you speak. Call someone you've been putting off calling. You know who it is? You've known for months. Make the call today, not when things are less busy. Because things are never less busy, and you know that too. Forgive one thing you've been carrying. One thing. It doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. It doesn't have to involve the other person at all. You don't even have to tell them. Just decide, privately, in your own chest, that you are putting it down. That you are done paying the price for someone else's mistake, or your own. Just put it down. Now let me ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. Not to me, but to yourself. Do you know what you ate yesterday? And was any of it something your grandmother would recognize as food? Do you know the last time you moved your body for more than 10 minutes without counting it as exercise on an app? Do you know the last time you sat with someone in silence and it felt like enough? Do you have something you're still holding? A resentment, a regret, a fear that you've been carrying so long it feels like part of you? Do you have the courage to put it down today? I've buried most of the people I loved. I know what the end looks like. And I know that almost none of them saw it coming as fast as it came. They all thought they had more time. They all thought they'd make the changes when things settled down. Things don't settle down. You either decide now, or you decide too late. And those are the only 2 options anyone ever actually gets. I'm 104 years old, and I'm still here, still making my oatmeal, still walking my 15 minutes, still saying thank you before my feet hit the floor. Don't waste the time you have. I've watched enough people do that to know it is the only mistake you cannot take back.